Stop memorizing pressure point charts. Most of those targets are completely useless in a real fight. If you want to know what actually ends fights and why certain areas are banned in nearly every combat sport on Earth, there are 5 spots on the body you need to understand. And no, it has nothing to do with pain. The targets that decide fights work because they shut down breathing, collapse balance, or cut blood flow to the brain. That's not a pressure point trick. That's your body failing at the things it needs to keep you standing. And when one of those systems goes down, the fight is over. No amount of toughness changes that. That's exactly why these areas carry the strictest rules in combat sports. Not because they hurt, because the damage can't be pushed through. I'm going to show you exactly which 5 areas matter, what happens inside the body when each one takes a hit, and why the rules exist to protect them. Here's what most people get wrong. They think pressure points are some secret button that shuts a person off. You press the right spot and your opponent just drops. That's not real. That's movie logic. The real reason certain targets end fights is simple. They break one of the systems your body can't fight without. Breathing, posture, consciousness. When any one of those goes, everything else follows. You don't need 100 targets. You need 5. Let's get into it. First area, the solar plexus, right below the rib cage, dead center of the upper abdomen. This might be the single most reliable fight-changing target on the human body. Here's why. The solar plexus is a thick cluster of nerves that controls your diaphragm. That's the muscle that lets you breathe. When this area takes a clean hit, the diaphragm locks up. It spasms, and when that happens, you cannot pull in air. It doesn't matter how tough you are. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how much adrenaline is pumping through your system. If the diaphragm freezes, your body folds. You double over. Your hands drop. Your guard disappears. Everything stops. Because your body only cares about one thing now, getting air back into the lungs. Nothing else matters until that happens. This is why body shots in boxing are so feared. A fighter who takes a clean one here doesn't wince and push through. Their legs go soft. Their posture breaks. The fight is still happening around them, but the body has already quit. You can see it in their face. The willpower is still there. The toughness is still there, but the lungs aren't working. And without air, none of it matters. The brain starts to panic. The guard drops, and everything that made them dangerous 5 seconds ago just disappears. They go from throwing punches to barely standing in the space of one breath they couldn't take. You've seen it happen in professional fights. A clean shot to the midsection, and suddenly someone is done. Not because they chose to stop, because the body chose for them. That's what makes the solar plexus so powerful. The response is automatic. It can't be overridden, it can't be trained away, and it can end a fight in seconds. Not because it's some hidden secret, because losing the ability to breathe is something no human body can ignore. That's just the first area. The next one is even more unpredictable. Second area, the side of the neck. There's a nerve bundle here called the brachial plexus. And before you skip past this one, hear me out. This might be the most misunderstood target in all of fighting. This nerve bundle controls your entire arm. Movement, grip, sensation. Every signal your arm needs to function runs through this one spot on the side of the neck. When it takes a clean hit, the response is instant. The arm on that side goes numb, the shoulder drops. The whole body flinches hard and pulls away from the impact. In many cases, the legs buckle too, not from pain, from overload. The nervous system gets slammed with a massive signal it wasn't ready for. It's like an electrical surge hitting a circuit board. The brain can't process the input fast enough, and the body's automatic reflex is to collapse inward and shut down. This is why the side of the neck is restricted in most combat sports. The effect is completely unpredictable. Sometimes it's a quick stun that lasts a second or two. Sometimes the person drops to the ground completely. Nobody can control what happens next. Not the person throwing, not the person receiving. The body doesn't choose how to react. It just reacts. Posture breaks, the guard opens, everything falls apart, and the fight changes in 1 second. In martial arts demonstrations, this area often looks overdramatic. Somebody taps the spot lightly, and their partner crumbles to the floor. In a real fight against someone who's resisting, the effect is less theatrical, but it's still real. A clean hit here breaks posture, forces a hard defensive flinch, and opens everything else up. The person doesn't get to decide what their body does next. The nervous system already made that decision for them. Not from pain, from a response that's hardwired into the body. You can't condition it away. You can't prepare for it. It's built in. The third area is the one fighters fear the most. And once you understand why, you'll never see a body shot the same way again. Third area, the liver, right side of the torso, tucked just under the lower ribs. This is not a traditional pressure point, but ask any professional fighter which target they respect the most, and the liver comes up every single time. There's a reason for that. The liver is one of the largest organs in the body. It's packed with blood and loaded with nerve endings. When it takes a hard impact, the vagus nerve fires. That triggers an immediate crash in blood pressure, and the body shuts down. Not slowly, not after a few seconds of trying to push through. Instantly. The drop is so fast that the brain doesn't even get a chance to respond before the body is already on its way down. You know what a clean liver shot looks like. The fighter doesn't scream. They don't clutch the spot and try to keep going. They drop to a knee, sometimes both. The face goes completely blank. breathing goes shallow, the legs lose all power. The brain sends one single message to the entire body: stop moving, protect the damage, nothing else matters. And here's what makes this target so feared across every combat sport. There is no fighting through it. You can condition yourself to absorb punishment to the head. You can train your core to handle body shots. But a clean liver shot bypasses all of that. The response kicks in before the brain even gets a chance to override it. Your body makes the call for you, and the call is to shut down, every time. That's why body punching has become such a core part of modern fight strategy. It's not flashy, it doesn't always make the highlight reel, but fighters who understand the liver break their opponents down in ways that headshots simply can't. The damage is quiet, it builds over rounds, and when it finally lands clean, it's over. No coming back. No second wind. The body has already made its decision, and that's what separates the liver from every other target on this list. With the others, there's at least a chance the person stays on their feet. With a clean liver shot, the body doesn't give you a choice. The next area is probably the most famous knockout target in all of fighting, but most people completely misunderstand how it actually works. Fourth area, the jaw. Everyone knows the jaw ends fights. It's the most talked about knockout target in boxing, kickboxing, and MMA, but most people get the reason wrong. It's not about pain, it's not about breaking bone, it's about one thing: rotation. Think of the jaw like a lever attached to the skull. When it gets hit from the side, the force doesn't just stay in the jaw, it travels through the bone and into the skull. That force spins the skull, and here's the key: your brain isn't bolted in place. It floats in fluid inside the skull, so when the skull whips to one side, the brain shifts with a slight delay. That movement scrambles everything at once: balance, coordination, consciousness. All of it goes offline at the same time. That's what a knockout actually is. It's not the jaw cracking. It's not even about the impact itself. It's the brain getting rattled by sudden rotational force. That's why a clean shot to the jaw doesn't make someone wobble around looking for balance. It makes them drop. Lights off. No warning. No transition. Just down. This is also why certain angles of impact are completely banned. Strikes to the back of the head are illegal in every major combat sport because they create even more dangerous rotation on the brain. The jaw happens to be the perfect lever for generating that force from the front. Even a hit that lands slightly off center on the chin creates enough torque to shut down consciousness in a fraction of a second. That's why knockouts happen so fast. The person who gets hit doesn't get a chance to react. The brain goes offline before the body even registers what happened. And here's the part that makes this area truly decisive. You can't train your way out of it. You cannot condition the brain to handle being rattled inside the skull. No amount of neck strengthening or mental toughness changes the physics. When that rotation happens, the brain responds the same way every single time. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a world champion. The physics don't care. That's what makes the jaw the most reliable knockout target in every striking sport on earth. The last area on this list carries more restrictions than anything else in combat, and for very good reason. Fifth and final area, the throat, the windpipe, the carotid arteries on both sides of the neck, the soft tissue surrounding all of it. This is the single most restricted target in virtually every combat sport on the planet. The reason is obvious. The throat has almost no natural protection, no bone covering it, no thick muscle guarding it, just skin, cartilage, and some of the most critical structures in your entire body sitting right there on the surface, completely exposed. A hit to the windpipe compresses the airway. Even moderate impact can cause swelling that restricts breathing for minutes. A hard hit can collapse the airway completely. That's not a fight-ending moment. That's a medical emergency. The carotid arteries sit on either side. These are the main blood supply lines to the brain. When both get compressed at the same time, blood flow drops fast. Within seconds, dizziness hits. A few more seconds and consciousness starts to fade. The person doesn't feel pain first. They feel confused, then heavy, then nothing. This is the exact mechanism behind chokes and grappling. It's not pain that puts someone out. It's the brain losing its blood supply, and it can happen in under 10 seconds. That speed is what makes it so dangerous. The window between fully conscious and completely out is razor thin. That's why referees in grappling watch submissions so closely, because by the time someone realizes they're in trouble, it might already be too late. That's why every major combat organization treats the throat as completely off limits. Boxing bans strikes to it. MMA bans direct throat shots. Grappling controls chokes with strict timing and release rules. Even accidental contact to the throat during a regulated fight gets flagged immediately by referees. Because with the throat, the line between discomfort and a genuine emergency is almost nothing. What starts as a minor hit can turn into a situation where someone can't breathe in a matter of seconds. That's a level of risk no sport is willing to accept, and that's exactly why the throat sits at the top of the restricted list in every major combat organization on the planet. So there you have it. 5 areas that actually decide fights. Solar plexus kills breathing. Side of the neck overloads the nervous system. Liver forces a shutdown nobody can push through. Jaw rattles the brain. Throat cuts off air and blood supply. None of this is secret. None of this is mystical. It's what happens when the body loses the systems it needs to keep fighting. Stop memorizing pressure point charts. Learn the 5 that actually matter. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe and drop a comment telling me which of these 5 surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next one.